Okay, welcome back. This is my neutral card review for Madness at the Darkmoon Faire. So, what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be taking a look at all the neutral cards. These are the cards that are going to make up the backbone of all your decks. And these are also cards that their offering rates, plus your deck offering rates, they're going to help you figure out the edge cases. Like, do I want to edge into more 4-drops? Do I want to edge into more 3-drops? What do I need here? All right, so very quick overview of the neutral cards. One thing here is that there really isn't, there's a little bit of a curve, but there's not that much of a curve with the neutral cards. We've got what I would say for 2-drops. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 2-drops, 2-mana cards you want to play on curve. For 3-drops, you got 1, maybe 2 if you draft this, 3 if you have secrets. We take a look here. 4-drops, you got like 2 4-drops and then a situational 4-drop. No 5-drops. By the way, I'm doing this by the rares and epics. They really aren't that good. Like there's like one good card among the rares and the epics, so it doesn't really matter there, or the legendaries. But they really aren't that good. So the commons are what are going to matter here. Like we go to rare. Bad, bad, okay. Epic. Situation, okay. Good, okay. Great, but late game. So don't need to worry about that for now. So anyway, key thing here is that these cards, there isn't that much of a curve. A lot of these are situational cards, but overall I think they're just like solid cards. It's a solid set, but it's nowhere near the power levels of like the last year and a half. So going through the cards here. Costume Entertainer Battle Cry, give a random minion in your hand +1/+2. On curve, 2 mana 1/2 is pretty bad. The buff, like technically it's a 3/4, so this looks like it's going to be a good card. It's a low 3-star card. Like we've seen hand buff mechanics before. We know Costume Entertainer, it's solid, it's not bad, but it's not going to be, it really isn't going to be that great. Like unless you hit it on something like a taunt, the buff is what like makes it a slightly above average card. Parade Leader, 2 mana 2/3. After you summon a rush minion, give it +2 attack. It's 2 mana 2/3 that you need something in your hand to do. That's really not that great. It's a high 2-star. It's a high 2-star card. Oh, here, just a reference. 2 mana 2/3s that do things like a 2 mana 2/3 by itself, nothing, is 2 stars. So it's above that. It's a high 2-star card, but it's not something that does anything independent. Like it's not a Bone Chewer Vanguard. That's like really good because it has taunt and upgrades. It's not a Money Berserker. So we've seen these cards, and this is just a high 2-star card. Anyways, Prize Vendor, 2 mana 2/3. Battle Cry. Both players draw a card. We had Fish Flinger, which was a card which I liked a lot more than everyone else, which is basically the same thing. In general, the both players do a mechanic almost always benefits the player playing it more than the other player. Because 1, you can choose when to do this. 2, you get the immediate benefit of, like if you play this on like turn 6 and you draw a 4-drop, you can play this and your 4-drop immediately. So you get that immediate benefit. So again, better than a normal 2-star, better than like a normal 2-drop, but not really all that great. High 2-star card. Yeah, high 2-star card. Rock Rager, 2 mana 5/1 taunt. So Magma Rager got power crept again, as is tradition. So 2 mana 5/1, bad stats. Taunt, useful, but if you have 1 health, someone's gonna clear it anyways. The taunt doesn't matter. So it's a 1-star card. Sorry. Showstopper, Deathrattle, silence all minions. This one, again, I am gonna say high 2-star card, and here's the reason why. This effect is powerful, definitely. That's one thing, but you can't play this if you've got something like a taunt or a Deathrattle on the board. So, and that will matter. That's number 1. Number 2, because this is Deathrattle, because you don't have initiative, your opponent is able to play around it real well. For example, there was the Priest card, his name I can't forget, the 5 mana 4/5 dragon that dealt 3 damage to everything, or dealt 3 damage to all enemies, and that seems really insane. Except it never was, because it was always way too slow. And your opponent would know about this, and they would trade off everything else, then finally trade that, so the impact didn't matter. And that's the same thing here. unless you got a broom or you got a rush. If you either need a broom or you need a rush Yogg merchant to get this to work, and it's just two situations. Like maybe the one thing where it could work is like blocking something on 3, but then like what are you blocking? You're blocking Harvest Gold, maybe. So yeah, 2-star card. Yeah, high 2-star card. Just it doesn't do enough, and it's not useful enough by itself. Wriggling Core, Battlecry, give adjacent minions +2/+1. Comparison number 1, Defender of Arcus. That's 4 mana, 2/3. Give adjacent minions +1/+1 and taunt. I would say dropping the buff down to 2 mana is actually really powerful. So I would say that this is a borderline 4-star card. This is like a very low 3 to 4-star card, just because of that buff. It's not Fungalmancer. The +2/+2, that's just such a massive swing for the rush. But yeah, you have this, you play it, you buff 2 things, and then you can make trades, and then the 2/1 doesn't matter. It's a little hurt that it's not a drop, but the effect's going to be good. So as I said, I would say low 4, maybe high 3. Don't do that, go here. Okay, Banana Vendor. 3 mana, 2/4, Battlecry, add 2 bananas to each player's hands. Again, neutral effects like this, they symmetrical effects benefit the player playing it first because they have the reason to play it. But a 3 mana, 2/4 just isn't that good. So adding 2 bananas to your hand and then getting an immediate buff, that can be powerful. I'm not going to deny that. I mean, Banana Buffoon as a 3 mana 2/2 was played a lot more than it should have been, but it was played a lot. So I can see people taking this, but I can't see this being anything more than a 2-star, just like an average 2-star card. I'm actually gonna buff it. I actually had this as a 50 because. Never mind. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm buffing it a little bit on my tier list here because I had it as a 50, which is like pure average. Because I would say a 3 mana 2/4 is probably like a 45, give or take. So I'm just adding a couple points here because I thought talking about it more, it sounds a little bit better to me. Okay, Darkmoon Dirigible. This is a, let me get this up here. This is a high 4-star card. Doesn't not high enough to hit 5, but it's a high 4-star card. So 3 mana 3/2 Divine Shield and 3 mana 3/2 Divine Shield. That's a Candle Taker, and that's kind of like a low 4-star card. Corrupt, gain Rush. So obviously later in the game, this is 3 mana, hit something for 3 damage, and get a 3/2. So that's really good. We've seen that effect before. We've seen that effect with things like SI7. We've seen that effect with Scale Rider. So these are good cards. Those are good cards. And yes, 3 is a lot more than 2, but we've seen the 3 mana effect here. We saw it in Warlock. They have the 3 mana 3/4 that deals 3 damage to something if you have Soul Fragment in your deck. So like, it's better than those cards. Like, don't get me wrong, it's better than those cards, but this isn't really breaking the game. And by the time you play it, the 3 damage is going to be less impactful, and the 3/2 is going to be less impactful. So it's really good on curve. It's really good in the late game, but that's just all it is. Really good. So as I said, high 4-star card. Darkmoon Statue. I compare this to Raid Leader. Raid Leader is a 41. Raid Leader, you never want to play on 3. If you're playing Raid Leader on 3, you're losing anyways. So with this, you're playing it in the mid game to the late game, which means you're probably going to corrupt it when you want to play it. So and then that becomes good. That actually does become good enough that I would say that this is a medium 2-star card. Like Raid Leader is like a low 2-star card. It's like right on the edge between 2 and 1 because it is useful. But this, like, no, it's not a drop, but it's going to be useful and it's going to do well. Like, this card will win you games. Don't get me wrong. All right, this card. I'm not sure if it's Earworm. I'm not sure if it's Gearworm. My go-to on pronunciation issues is I'm going to listen to Adwocta say this card first, and then whatever he says, I'm going to say the opposite of it because Adwocta is almost always wrong on these pronunciations. So my gut is Gearworm or I'm going to say Gearworm. So Gearworm. Battlecry. If you played an elemental last turn, deal 3 damage. 1 sec. Elemental. So you're not drafting this. you'll probably draft this. Let's go all classes. Okay, so as you can see, there aren't elementals. There really aren't. Shaman has one. Mage has one really powerful one, like 2 cards you're definitely going to draft a lot of. So in Mage, okay, so going back to just the regular neutrals. In Mage, it's pretty good. So Mage, I would say that it's actually pickable in Mage, and if you get the right deck for it, if you get enough confectioners, this can become really powerful. This can, I would say, be a legitimate 2-star card in Mage, and maybe even a 3-star card. The problem is the whole you have to play an elemental thing, and we've had that mechanic before. It's a little weird to set up. So, plus on curve, it's not really going to happen. So again, Mage maybe 2 stars, and then everyone else it's 1 star. Don't pick it. Like it's not there isn't the synergy unless Ungoro comes back for whatever reason. All right, inconspicuous rider, battle cry, cast a secret from your deck. If you're Paladin, you're not picking secrets, so don't worry about Paladin. If you're Hunter, Mage, or Rogue, you are picking secrets. This is good. Like, definitely do this. So in those classes, I would say that again, 2-star card. By the way, when I say 2-star card, I mean in general. If you have multiple secrets, like if you have 2 secrets or 3 secrets, then this becomes an easy 3-star or a 4-star card, just for the ability to play that out. Everyone else, it's 1-star card. You never want to pick it. And I just noticed, because I haven't been taking a look at the art here, we got the ever so classic 3 gnomes disguised as 1 giant person. Okay. He's even got like the dirty gnome foot here. Like, okay. I love the art. I love the art here of like the 3 gnomes disguised as like 1 regular adult-sized person. I don't think I've ever seen kids do that, but that image is always funny to me. All right, moving on. Circus Amalgam, 4 mana taunt. This minion has all minion types. There are some cards that benefit, like there is Menagerie synergy with this. So this is for, I want to say, in the Zoth decks in Constructed, where you just need a card to play for certain minion types to get resurrected. So anyway, with the Circus Amalgam here, like it's 4 mana, 4/5 taunt. We've seen this before. As I mentioned, we saw this before with what is it, Groundskeeper last set. So we know how good this card is, and that is going to be a 4-star card. Yeah, pretty much all needs to be said. Circus Medic, 4 mana, Battle Cry, restore 4 health, corrupt, deal 4 damage instead. Okay, so 4 mana, restore 4 health. This is kind of like a Shroom-Brewer, the Bubblies guy. So 1 less attack, so it's not as good on curve, but it's Earthen Ring Farseer, basically. I mean, this is perfectly fine. So like that by itself would be probably a 3-star card. And then like that'd probably be like 60s or so, high 60s. The healing is like, sorry, the corrupt effect is really powerful. Deal 4 damage. 4 damage is a lot of damage. And remember, it can go face as well. So this is a deck. Okay, I talked myself into this. I thought this was like a medium card, but I'm giving it a few extra points. So yeah, this is a low 4-star card. I would say it's probably about equivalent to Circus Amalgam. Mostly because, like, when you think about it, the corrupt effect is powerful, super powerful, and the normal effect is good. I mean, solid. You're not going to be sad to take this. So yeah, I would say this is a low 4-star card. It depends on your deck, and it depends on how many 5-drops or whatever that you have to be able to corrupt this to get the effect to go off. Fantastic Firebird, 4 mana, 3/5 Wind Fury. Wind Fury is finally being treated like an actual keyword instead of something that just kills something else. So, anyways, what is this? It's a 3-star card. Like, not much that needs to be said there. Okay, where are we? Knife Vendor. Cute battle cry. So in Hunter, maybe Demon Hunter, this is a good card. You'll probably want to take it. Like, not good card. It's a 2-star card for them. You'll want to take it. For everyone else, like, for them it's a medium 2-star card. For everyone else, I would say it's probably a low 2-star card. It's still pickable. 3 mana, 3/4 isn't great by any stretch of the imagination. So, but being able to have that reach, especially in classes where you do not plan on having reach, that matters. And I think because of that, I would take this over a Nightblade, which is like a 40, which is like borderline lowest one star card. Or sorry, borderline lowest 2-star card. So this, I would take this over Nightblade, even though it damages your own face, and especially in classes that are really aggro centric, then this would be a lot better, and this would be a medium 2-star card. Claw Machine. So I saw this card and I thought, what the fuck? But now, having thought about this for a little bit, comparing it directly to Evasive Worm. So Evasive Worm, you split it up into parts. So part 1 is deal 5 damage to a minion. Claw Machine is deals 6 damage to a minion. So Deathrattle, draw a card and give it +3/+3. So the Deathrattle effect, draw a card. When you think about it, it's usually about 1.5 mana or 4 stats. So the card you get with +3/+3, the draw is like 2 mana. Sorry, this is +2/+2, and then +3/+3. That's like 5 mana. So it's about a 5/5. So you get an extra 5/5 worth of value in your hand that you can play with this card. And then on the other hand, the Evasive Worm gives you a 5/3 spell immune that is right on the board. So when you take a look at it, the Claw Machine, it gives you a little bit more value. But that value is delayed. While with Evasive Worm, you get that value immediately on the board. So I would say they are very comparable. And I would say Claw Machine is a little bit better than an Evasive Worm. A little bit better. But yeah, they're very comparable. So yeah, easy 5-star card. This is not 6 stars. This is not like breaking the game. But this is like a very strong 5-star card that you will always want to pick, and it's the best neutral in the set. Strongman. So remember, Corrupt means you have to play an 8-mana card, and there really aren't that many good 8-mana cards in the set. So the if it does get corrupted, it becomes extremely powerful. So if it's not corrupted, like on curve, it's horrible. And then if it's in a top deck late game situation, a 6/6 taunt, that's kind of like a Lord of the Arena where you don't flank it, but you'll play it because sometimes a big card just does its job. So overall, I would say Strongman, this is just, it's a 2-star. It's a moderate 2-star card. I don't think it's going to work. Like, I think people are going to try it. I think people want to try it. I just don't think that in Arena it's going to work. Constructed, maybe, but I even doubt it there. Arena, no. Sorry. And then these two over here at the very, very end. Okay, so number 1, Optimistic Orc. This is the custom Hearthstone card that has always... I think this card was printed so much that custom Hearthstone banned anyone from ever printing this card again because it just kept on dominating everything. But okay, so what is it? It's 5 mana, 6/7, 50% chance to attack the correct enemy. We've seen a card like this before. It was Ogre Ninja. It was in Shan. It was a 5 mana, 6/6 with stealth with basically the same effect. So what's better, 5 mana, 6/7 or a 5 mana, 6/6 stealth? I would say a 5 mana, 6/6 stealth. I don't think the 1 health matters all that much. So that card was I want to say it was a low 70s card, give or take. So this is a card that would be probably like a low 3-star card. Sorry, this would be like a mid 3-star card. Yeah, mid 3 stars. So it's good. Like the effect is good, but the at 5 mana, just getting an extra +1/+2, that doesn't matter nearly as much as other cards. And then finally, the card I referenced before, Fleethoof Pearl Tusk, Corrupt, gain +4/+4. This card is a borderline 3-4-star card. I would say high 3, low 4. I've went over the thoughts here. Like, you need 6 mana cards to play. There aren't that many great 6 mana cards to draft, much less play. So it's going to be difficult to corrupt this. I think it's much worse than a Faceless Corruptor. I think it's a lot harder to play. I think that it's okay on curve, but really its value is in the corrupt. So I think it's going to be useful. It's going to win you games. People are going to get upset by this, but I think on average this is easily worse than Dragon Ball Poacher, and that would put it in the low 4, high 3 range. All right, so that's for commons. So just going through, there aren't that many rares, epics, and legendaries. There's actually more legendaries than rares and epics. So going over the cards here. First one, Safety Inspector. So battle cry, shuffle the lowest card from your hand into your deck, draw a card. So problems here. Number one, if you're playing this on curve, if you're playing this on turn 1, the card that you are shuffling into your hand, into your deck, is probably going to be a card that you want to play on curve. Unless you got 2 1-drops, if you're shuffling your 2-mana card into your hand and drawing a card, that's bad. That's really, really bad. So this is a card like you would not want to keep in the mulligan unless you had like 2 2-drops so that you could send one of them back in. That's number one. Now, where it's good is that in the mid to late game, like if you've got that 1-drop that's going to do nothing, you play this, you take that 1-drop and you upgrade it. And that's good because usually the other card you're going to draw is going to be better than that card. So you'll gain a few points on it. But then you have the problem that you're playing a 1-mana 1/3 in the mid to late game, which really isn't all that good. So yeah, this is a very low 2-star card, borderline 1-star card, just because you can't play this on curve. And in the mid to late game, when it becomes useful, it's like when the effect becomes useful, the body becomes useless. And when the body is useless, the effect can just like lose you the game. So yeah, if someone rated this 1 stars, I would get it. I would get it. I'm saying there are situations where it could be a low 2-star card. Kitther, Ritualist. Taunt, add a random 4-cost minion to your opponent's hand. So I compare this to a Dancing Swords a little bit, but Dancing Swords had a delayed effect. Dancing Swords is 4-mana, 3-mana 4/4 Deathrattle. Your opponent draws a card. So this one, your opponent draws a card immediately, and that card they can play on turn 4 immediately. And that 4-drop is most likely going to be able to immediately challenge this. So even though it's a 3-mana 4/4, like it's useful in the sense that's 3-mana 4/4 taunt. Like that's not bad, but the value is almost always never going to matter. So I have this as 1 star. I think this is a card this is a card you want to evolve into. This is not a card that you want to have your opponents, like, what do I want to say? This is not a card you want to play on curve. This is a card you want to play like when card advantage is so meaningless. Like you play this when card advantage is meaningless, just because it's 4/4 taunt. And I think playing this on curve, it doesn't do enough. Last one, Derailed Coaster. 5-mana 3/2 battlecry. Summon a 1/1 rider with rush for each minion in your hand. So for this to be a good, I would say, a good card, you need to have 3 other minions in your hand. And then if you got 4 or 5 or 6 other minions in your hand, then it becomes great. But this is Arena. So Arena, maybe you'll have 3 minions in your hand. You're probably not going to have a lot of minions in your hand. So overall, I'm selling on this card. I think it's a low 2-star card because there are situations where you don't have the minions, and there are situations where, well, how do I say this? There are situations where you don't have the minions, and on curve, I think it's decent, but it's not always going to be great. So I think it's low to mid 2 stars. I could be wrong in this. I definitely could be wrong in this, but I'm not happy with it. All right. Epics, going through these quickly. All right, 9-mana 4/4, taunt, some 2 copies of this, fill your board with copies. Okay, only ways to corrupt it. The only real class that has a chance for this corrupt effect to go off is Priest. Because Priest has Mind Control. And Mind Control is a 10-mana card that is a common that people pick a lot. So, like Druid and Mage both have epics that could activate this. But overall, like Shaman has Eye of the Storm, which can activate this. Hunter has Nagrand's. Like, here are the classes that have 10-mana cards. Priest has Mind Control. Shaman has Eye of the Storm, which is good, but then you can't activate this for 2 turns and you've already got a bunch of taunts. So the game's probably going to be over one way or another. Hunters have Nagrand Slam, which if you're Hunter, you don't want to be... If you get to turn 10, you're in trouble. Okay, Mage has Power Blast, which you aren't playing unless you're killing the opponent. Druid has Survival of the Fittest, which, like, if you play Survival of the Fittest, you don't really need Carnival Clown anyways. You play Carnival Clown to stall your opponent, so you can play Survival of the Fittest, so the rest of your cards win the game. So the Carnival Clown effect is not really all that impactful. So it's priest only, where you can play a 10-drop and corrupt this and have it do something, unless you draft Scrapyard Colossus. Okay, point being, priest, it gets a few other points. Other classes, it's 9 mana for 3/4/4s, 3/4/4 taunts, and that's okay. That's a low 3, high 2-star card. In priest, it's definitely a 3-star card, but overall, not that great. Horrendous Growth. Corrupt, gain +1/+1, can be corrupted endlessly. So for Horrendous Growth to matter, on curve, it's never going to be good, because you have to play a 3-drop, and then on 4, it's 2 mana 3/3. That's not good enough. If you play a 4-drop, then on 5, it's a 2 mana 4/4, and that's okay. And that's kind of where it gets. So really, for a 2 mana card to be worth it in the mid and late game, I would say it has to hit at least 5/5, if not 6/6, to justify it being a bad whatchamacallit. To justify it being a bad 2-drop. So, like, it's definitely fine. It's definitely not bad. It's a 3-star card. I'm just saying that the corrupt effect, it's a little bit too slow, and it's not going to be worth it. It's going to be a quasi version of Blood Herald for Demon Hunter and Hunter. Darkmoon Rabbit. Alright, I talked about this a little bit. 10 mana, 1/1, kill 3 things. So, this is a 4-star card, no question. I know some people are like, it's slow, it gets blocked by taunts. Like, any cleave effect is great. Any targeted cleave effect is great. In the mid to late game, like, this is not a card that is going to necessarily win you the game, but this is going to be a card that either A, gets you card advantage where you can win the game, or B, if you have any sort of board, like, this clears off the opponent's board, and then that lets you put a lot of pressure on the opponent's face, and then that wins you the game from there. So you need other things to win the game, and that's why it's only 4 stars. Because it's a good effect. It's definitely a good effect. Excuse me, got caught in my throat. But yeah, it's definitely a good effect. If you have a little bit of board control, this matters a lot. This is kind of like the mind control, in a sense. Mind control is better. Mind control is better, don't get me wrong. But mind control, where it's really useful sometimes, is if you have a board, sometimes you just mind control an average minion, not because it's worth it, but because it lets you pressure. And that's usually what happens. So, Darkmoon Rabbit, good card, 4-star card. Like, that's fine. Okay, finally, legendaries. Alright, Cthulhu the Shattered, start of the game, breaking to pieces, battlecry, deal 30 damage randomly split among enemies. Alright, so first off, we look at the pieces here. 5 mana 7, deals 7 damage split among enemies. That's an 5 mana Avenging Wrath, so that's high 60s. Heart of Cthulhu. Deal 3 damage to all minions. That's high 60. Dual-sided board, clear, doesn't hit face, so that's probably like probably 70s. Body of Cthulhu. Somebody 6/6, 5 mana 6/6 with taunt. That's easily in 80s. Maw of Cthulhu. Destroy minion. That's a 70s. That's an assassinate. Cthulhu's body. Whoops. That. All right. So you see, the cards there average out to about a 70 level card in your deck. So, and then if you do for whatever reason manage to draw Cthulhu, you probably just win the game. You win the game. You just win the game. This is Arena. You win. So overall, I say that this is 75, like when you average it out, and a 75, as I mentioned, is a low 4-star, high 3-star card. So good card. It's a little bit too slow, and the pieces aren't really they don't matter enough. You charge the Deviler. Add a copy of each corrupted card you've played in this your hand. They cost 0 this turn. So corrupt cards. We've seen corrupt cards. They're good corrupt cards, but 1, they have to have been corrupted. Number 2, you have to have drawn them and played them before you draw your charge to the Defiler. So, is that going to happen? So you're probably going to get like 1, maybe 2. All right. So, like overall, I think it's same thing as Cthulhu. I think this is low 4, high 3-star card. Like, 10 mana 10/10 is bad. The effects, if you get the right effect, it can be really powerful. but sometimes you're just going to get like a mediocre effect with it. So I'm not sure. This could be a lot better. I'm going to say this. I might be wrong on this. I'm saying low 4, but because I'm not sure if you're going to get enough corrupt cards or if you're going to play it. But if you get like 1 or 2 good ones, then this can be really, really powerful. But I played with N'Zoth. I played with old school N'Zoth. And for that card, even with the Deathrattles, it really wasn't. Like, there were times when it was insane, but there were times when just it didn't do anything. Sylas Darkmoon. Alright. So the thing with Sylas Darkmoon, choose a direction to rotate all minions. So you get your opponent's minion and you give the opponent one of your own minions. So remember, for a 7 mana card, you're expected to gain at least 7/7 worth of stance. So if you play Sylas Darkmoon and your opponent plays, let's say, an 8/8, you can take Sylas Darkmoon, you can give your opponent the 8/8, and you can get the 8/8 for yourself. So what you do is you take that. All right, so here's the math. Your opponent's 8/8 goes from 8/8 to 4/4 with Sylas. So they lose 4/4 in stats. Then you get the 8/8 instead of a 4/4. So you gain. All right, so you get the 8/8, and then you add on the value of Sylas compared to the 8/8 you stole. So it's effectively a 12 mana swing because you get 7 mana to get the body, and then you get 4 mana to lower the body. Okay, so you see how that works, right? So that's with an 8/8, but let's say you do it with a 5/5. So 7 mana, you play a 5/5, that's 5 mana, and then Sylas goes to your opponent's side of the board, and that's 6 mana. So you're getting 6 mana worth of value. And now you see the problem. Because number 1, there aren't really big cards that are left in Arena. Number 2, like you need, Sylas by himself is a bad card to swap. You want like some cheap token or whatever to swap. So for Shaman, for Paladin, this becomes a lot better because you can just play the token, you can play the dude, and then Sylas Darkmoon can swap the token for whatever big guy you want to get. But like overall, I am not sold on this card. It's better than I thought. I talked myself into saying it's better than I thought, but I would say that this is probably like a low 3-star card. So I'm gonna rewrite this later because I forgot to. I honestly forgot to count that you reduce your opponent's minion generally, like in the Sylas steals a single minion case. But yeah, I would say low 3-star card. All right. Yogg Saron, Master of Fate. Battle cry. If you've cast 10 spells this game, spin the wheel of Yogg Saron. Okay. First off, are you going to cast 10 spells? Not impossible. Priest and Mage in particular, not impossible, so they have higher scores. Everyone else, probably not. So, spin the wheel of Yogg Saron. What do you get? Mystery box. So, cast 10 random spells. So, this means it's a puzzle box. Puzzle box is an insane card. Sorry, here. Hand of Fate. Fill your hand with random spells. They cost 0 this turn. Again, insane card. Curse Flesh. Fill the board with random minions and then give yours Rush. Not that great. Remember, it's fill the board. That means the opponent's board and your board. So you got the initiative, right? But if your opponent gets a big minion, if your opponent gets a Winged Guardian, it really doesn't matter if you've got Rush. Like, they can RNG. So this one is where RNG can screw you over. Mind Flayer Goggles. Take control of 3 random enemy minions. Like, always positive. Really, really good. Devouring Hunger. Destroy all other minions. Gain their attack and health. So you got a giant thing. Really, really good. Rod of Roasting. Cast Pyroblast randomly until a player dies. Yeah, like, absolutely insane card. So, yeah. Yogg Saron, Master of Fate. This card is, if it goes off, by the way, there's like about a 15% chance here for Curse of Flesh, and Rod of Roasting is about 5%. So give or take, there's a 10% chance if you cast this, you will just die. And in the other 90% of the chance, you're probably going to win the game. So overall, is the card good? I'd say it's a 2-star card in Mage and Priest, and in other classes, they just aren't going to activate it, and it's only 1 star there. Finally, Zoth God of the Deep. 10 mana 5/7 battlecry, resurrect a friendly minion of each minion type. So I mentioned before with your Sarge, the problem with old N'Zoth is that sometimes you just didn't get death rattles. You didn't get the death rattle decks, or you didn't get the right death rattle minions to make this work off. Menagerie, the like friendly minion of each type, this is Arena. You're going to draft friendly minions of each type. So pretty much this is like a 10 mana Onyxia. So yeah, N'Zoth God of the Deep, this is 10 mana Onyxia, which that's going to happen. So yeah, this is a 5-star card. This is probably like that's the problem. Like even if you resurrect tokens, like you're gonna resurrect 3 or 4 things. They're gonna be probably more valuable than the Onyxia whelps. So yeah, I'm saying this is like Onyxia levels. This is like about a 90-ish. This is a 5-star card. Probably the best legendary of the set. All right. And that is it for the neutrals. When I come back, I'm going to go, well, first, right now, I'm going to go and get dinner and eat dinner. And then after all of that is done, I'm going to go through all the classes and then finally my class review, which, as I mentioned before, is just which classes I'm interested in rather than which classes are going to be good, because macro adjustments are going to make everything, like they'll even the win rates out. So if you're playing a class, you should be playing a class because it's fun or because it's interesting rather than because you think you're going to win. All right. I'll see you guys later.